Good afternoon from Prague. I am Martina Pecková-Černá, and I am greeting you from the Arts and Theatre Institute. It is our pleasure to welcome you to the Green Thursday series of international online discussions with Czech and foreign guests from the field of performing arts. We are here every fourth Thursday at the same time, 3 p.m. Central European Time, with diverse moderators and guests ranging from dance and theater artists to curators, culture managers, and theorists.
The overall topic, "The show must go on, offline," was chosen so that we can address the common theme of sustainability and the performing arts from many perspectives. These include the response of the performing arts to the state of the environment and the COVID pandemic, as well as the field's emerging strategies to address urgent social changes and paradigm shifts in culture and in our societies. These discussions are organised by the International Cooperation Department and in collaboration with the European projects Create to Connect, Create to Impact, and the Central European Performing Arts Network, PACE V4. They are also linked to the main theme of this year's Theatre Night in the Czech Republic, which is sustainability. They also correspond with the arts and theatre institutes, culture, and the climate activities which serve as a communication platform for public and independent cultural organisations in the Czech Republic on global environmental challenges.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, visitors, all of you that decided to join today's live debate, which is called the Third Theatrical Reform with a question mark. First of all, let me introduce my dear guests today. Markus Lobes, Director of Academy for Theatre and Digitality in Dortmund. Matěj Nitra, dramaturgist at Hadivadlo Theatre Venue in Brno, Czech Republic. And Krzysztof Garbaczewski, theater and film director that has developed some VR techniques in his recent theater works. The goal of this debate is to discuss the topic theater and digitality. There is being frequently said that theater is a conservative environment where one might be considering online streaming of recorded performances is the only example where digital environment penetrates theater. But there is, of course, much more to it, from new technologies, medias, and internet to virtual reality or game industry. At the beginning of the session, I'd like to ask each of you, today debaters, to describe shortly one recent performance, your own or somebody else's, that according to you best represents the shifts in theater in past few years towards digital environment. And I would ask first Markus Lobes.
Yes, hello from Dortmund. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you. As you said, my name is Markus Lobes. I'm the director of the Academy of Theatre and Digitality in Dortmund, what was established just 1 year ago as a department of the theater of Dortmund. And we are some sort of a research center. So if you're interested, I would give you some information later on. But let us now come to the first asked topic. The theater of Dortmund, the Schauspiel Dortmund, with its director Kai Voges, just have a lot of experimentation fields within the connection between digital tools and classical theatrical performances. And so he worked out on a lot of topics like, of course, video, programming, coding, VR and AR, robotics and all this. And I think the spectacularist performance was just about 2 years ago, a piece called The Parallelwelt. And it was a performance that was performed on two theaters at the same time. First at the Schauspiel Dortmund with its own ensemble, and on the Berliner Ensemble with its own ensemble. And they just performed the show at the same time, but on different spaces. And they were connected between a very fast internet lane the theater of Dortmund established during the whole German country. And so the ensembles had the opportunity to look and hear and see and interact via cameras, video screens, and even the audience has had. So we're just both entering the theater, and the audience was waving each other. After a few performances, people just got connected, and it was highly interesting to see how two ensembles on two different places can play to each other, sing choruses, just give the story back and from Dortmund to Berlin and back, sorry. And so I think this was one of the best thing I've ever seen with new technologies on real stages. Now, after the last month of COVID pandemic, literally things had changed into a more digital or virtual space. And so this maybe is a topic to discuss here afterwards either. And just to give you a little example, I prepared, of course, a photo of the Parallelwelt. And this is here. I hope you all can see this. This is a picture of the stage of Dortmund. And there were in the ground floor, this was what you can see on the theater live, and in the upper etage you can see what was happening in the other theaters. So, and on stage there were hidden monitors and projection planes for that the ensemble could recognize each other. So I think this was really a very interesting story, and to get a dramaturgical clue, the play was told forward in Dortmund and backward, also forward from birth to death and backward from death to birth in Berlin, and they just met at the middle of the play. So this was really a good example for how to use digital tools today.
Okay, thank you very much. And let's proceed to Mathieu, if possible. Thank you.
Okay, I send greetings from Brno, from Hadivadlo. I'm just there inside. Yeah, like in this contemporary situation, we are like officially closed, but I only can say that we are trying to continue somehow in our research and like this program of which is like under the closed door. Yeah? So now I can say for the first that we are now strongly thinking about what are these new ideas or visions of like digitalizing theater, because like in general, I think I can say and describe the contemporary like Czech theatrical feelings about these issues, that we are kind of like afraid of it, or like we are like so much steps behind, maybe behind you, behind Kai Foges, or behind these projects. Yeah, still that we are still thinking about continuing our like kind of analog theater and like waiting for better times. But I'm last weeks I'm really thinking strongly if it is a good way of thinking, if we should like focusing on these issues really alternatively. That means that we don't have so much like strong experience with some connection between theater or this digital or internet world with streamings, because like for most of the theater in this time of Corona, it meant and it still means that it's possible to stream this analog theater online, or it can be live played in the theater, like behind the closed door, but it's like this live streaming of the original stage production. And I think that Kai Foges is saying that this is not the good way of digital theater. that we are streaming this analog theater. So if some of these like Czech scenes are doing this kind of theater, streaming this analog theater, so I think this is the scenes that we are still in our thinking like behind. Sure, that doesn't mean that in Czech context there were not any other attempts to produce original works for streaming. But I think like if it is projects, if it's these are projects, for example, there was in Prague in one theater which we can maybe like describe as this commercial theater. It's Divadlo na Divadlo na Fidlovačce. They produced this project Decameron 2020, which was like straight produced for online for streaming. And it was like complex of 20 short text written by 20 different authors and produced by 20 different teams. But like what is the sense of that it was only like some alternative or like this provisor project was that the topic was straight to thematize to make the corona times like the strongest topic of the short plays, that it was only like focusing and self-reflexing what is happening now, that it was something what was only for that time, and I think without any other connections to think about this kind of streaming theater for the future. Yeah, that it was only like some attempt, some kind of game or whatever. Yeah, maybe we will see what will happen next, because still the situation in Czech theaters is really, in this kind of analog theater, is really worse and worse. We are, like I said in the beginning, that we are closed and we are waiting what will come next. What is positive in our last experiences, and this is straight connected to Hadivadlo, to our theater, our stage, is the project which was made in May, and it was connected to sure the German theatrical context, because our project called Macocha, which is directed by Kamila Polívková, was invited for the festival Radar Ost in production of Deutsches Theater in Berlin. And originally we were really looking forward to go there physically and have the German premiere of this project. But in May, we got, or I think it was April, we got the message by Birgit Lengers, the curator, that, okay, it turns to digital, yeah, this festival. But, okay, first was that we were like kind of like, this is still connected to the emotions, that we are like really sad from it, that we are not going to show it physically, yeah. But after this first emotional reaction, we got, I think, quite positive reactions and ideas how to remediate the original analog theater to this stream version. And Kamila was then planning the shooting of the production with filmmaker, director Tomáš Klein, who is one of the young filmmaker, author from the new generation of Czech cinema. Like also he has some connection to really the European Festival Network and like this, and he had his student work in Cannes Festival and like this, so he has quite good ideas about like he came with the concept of don't shoot the production in the whole time and in the whole complexity of the project, and to do original stream version of the production. So finally, they did, I think, a really nice job, which is like only 40 minutes. The production itself in analog has like 80 minutes. So it is kind of this best of the production. And what is more important on it is the way of shooting, because Tomáš wanted to use different kind of media and cameras, like he's using their like GoPro camera, like put it on the head of the actress, so there is like perspective of the actress from the stage, something that is not like visible from the perspective of audience. Like so the new production or the new like this video version of the production is something very original. Yeah? It's not like only like archiving this original analog version. And the first very good, like positive experience from it was the way why we in our theater in Brno in Czech were distributing it or like showing it to our audience. Still, it was in time when it was not like officially allowed to open the door of the theater. So we invited only like 30, 40 friends of like from our theater scene in Brno. And we watched the stream version online in the time when it was in the program of the festival in Berlin. And like what was like the most important on it was that also the original actresses from the performance were with us in our stage, and we were watching the video on a big screen in our theater. So like we watched like production what was streaming like that time originally in the schedule of the festival program, but the protagonists were with us in our stage and they were watching themselves. And then we had discussion about like mainly about these feelings of these like protagonists and also the director of it, that what made them yeah, physically like they were like with us. And like this was still I'm thinking that and describing it in the sense that we are in some like in the first kind of experiences of this and like maybe it means something that we need to have more and more experiences like this to think about it strongly in terms of self-reflection. Yeah. Maybe in next 2-3 years we will see more and more. Yeah. And I look forward because these are good issues for thinking and creating.
Okay, thank you, Maciej. This is, I mean, this is maybe good example of a path of to discover the possibilities of digital theater, which is very, very valid experience, I think. Even though we might not be able to share from Czech Republic such experiences as they have in Dortmund. And okay, now once again, I'd like to proceed to Krzysztof and your example of performance, please. I'm sorry, I guess you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Hi, greetings from the middle of the sea this time. And yeah, I mean, I had some experiences with streaming theater 10 years ago. I started to use it for my performances. It was kind of, let's call it local streaming, because I was hiding actors behind the screen and using different spaces in the theaters to stream them. And later, like 3 years ago, when this VR technology started to be more accessible, I founded Dream Adoption Society, which is kind of collective or group or group of people that is like artists focused on development of those technologies, VR, AR, and AI for the performance. And our we had some few VR performances for the last months, but our last, let's call it analog or hybrid performance was Divine Comedy, produced by Theatr Powszechny in Warsaw and Dream Adoption Society, where we combined those two art forms, and actors were playing on a stage, but also there were 4 actors in VR, and what they were doing there was streamed to the screen above the stage, so we could see the stage with the actors playing on a lower level and on a higher level above the stage. We've seen the streaming from this VR space that we created. So the theater piece had a Divine Comedy, has this VR component. Those actors in VR were like those lost souls in Dante's Purgatorio, trying to reach the mountain all the time. And it was very interesting experience. But like during the pandemic, when it started, we recreated this performance. We played it again in the beginning of May without the theater part. We just played it in VR. I mean, because basically from the beginning, this performance, what was happening in VR was happening through the platform, like a social media, VR social media platform called VR Chat. So it's also open to the public. And everyone can enter the space using VR technology, or even using just PC computer. You kind of play like a first-person perspective shooter, but it's not a shooter. It's a social network. So people are meeting there, and you can create your worlds and avatars, and it became like a very good tool for us to create those multiplayer experiences. And so we played it, like we also had like so we played the whole performance in VR, and we added some more worlds, and we also recreated our stage in Teatr Powszechny in VR. So we're kind of trying to be as close to the analog theater as much as possible, but then we were just using VR and inviting people to this environment, and also streaming it to some platforms, like YouTube, Twitch, or others. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I very much like to get back to the specific techniques that you all mentioned, but sticking back to the original topic, after all you just said, would you say that we are experiencing anything like the so-called third theater reform? Are these approaches and changes and shifts, are they really that big? Maybe I should point out that even the second theater reform is very, how to say, fluid term that, being put in a nutshell, describes the changes of the social role of theater in the second half of the 20th century, frequently being put in connection to names like Grotowski. So could the digital boom actually represent something like third reform of theater? And now it's up to you.
It's quite interesting. It's quite interesting that you mentioned Grotowski, because I'm also trying to build a bridge between his experience and our experience. I mean, he made this term like art as a vehicle, and I started to use it in a way that it's like digital art as a vehicle to reach some other dimensions, kind of, because VR has this very metaphysical or psychedelic also level where you just jump into some other reality. It's completely changing where you are, your experience. So I kind of hope so. It is a reform. I mean, I'm not against the analog theater, as you called it, but I see many possibilities in developing this form, and also when just VR came to those 3-4 years ago to our homes, kind of, it was accessible, got cheaper and so on. There was like a very interesting article, you know, like appeared like what VR artists like could take from the theater, because it has so many connections. It's about presence also. It's different from the movie where you edit pictures and you kind of manipulate with the viewer with this edit, but it's kind of different in VR, because you still can edit, but you cannot make the viewer to to see what you want exactly. He can choose his own path. Yeah, so it has kind of more freedom. Yeah.
But of course, you create the content, at least as a VR artist, I think.
Yeah, of course.
But let me say, since you both mentioned it, I don't think there is a really question, a battle between analog and digital forms of theater. We're now going to explore new spaces and new rooms of discussion of how connect the people, how to communicate. So there will be, since it is for the last 2,500 years, an analog theater, an analog space where we can meet and where we can discuss our belongings as a community. And we created a new space. So as in the history of mankind, we created the language to writing, or the book print, or even the electrification and digitization of the of our environment and of our doing and of our belongings, of our being mankind. So even as you said, the third reform, I would say yes, in the kind of. We currently are experiencing a breathtaking acceleration of online formats and of digital and virtual formats. There's a huge opportunity in training and in exercising professions. And so digital transformation is a thing. It's ongoing for the last, I would say, for the whole community, whole mankind, for 20 years. In my life, for 40 years or more. So the arts cannot close their eyes to this. The people we are talking to on the theater stage or in performing arts or whatever just are currently working with the digital tools in a private life and even in their, of course, in their work life. And excuse my not so experienced English in this case, but we have, of course, to give not answer, but we have to question all this transformation, and we have to keep in contact to the people in all this kind of communications point. And so we have to create new rooms to discuss the things. Even the COVID pandemic hasn't extremely pushed to think about the ways we are doing it when the theater is closed, as by now.
Okay, Matej, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I'm strongly thinking if okay, there is like reform or revolution, like maybe it is also the inventing the new artistic form, like a new or an original one. Still, because it's something like it's new intermedia version of theater. It's not only reform, maybe it's completely something different. Yeah, and the reasons why I am thinking in this way is that it really means big changes in the whole process of producing like theater artifact. Like originally we know from school when we are studying theater that there is a process of writing maybe or rehearsing or together writing and rehearsing together in different forms of like device theater. And there is like the general rehearse and there is the premiere and there are the repetitions of it and the showing process and there is a last show. And this is something what means that the typical and traditional theater artifact is something what doesn't live like ever. It's something what is mortal and that you can't like make it live forever. Yeah, it's something like this is the essence of the theater. And if we are thinking about some virtual or digital version of theater, so still it is something what is maybe intermedia version of this, because in each step it can be something else. You can do it opposite way. You can start with like make some premiere first and then put something like back together to this project. You can add something, you can do some internet series of some theater idea, whatever. Like it is open, it's completely open form. Yeah, for me it's something what can be maybe it can be the new art for new century. But first, and this is important, this is maybe the first step, that we first should have like new study ateliers and new studying possibility to think about it and have some experiences of testing this new format. Yeah, this is what I was saying in the beginning, that in Czech context, we have in theater schools and faculty of theater, we have only these traditional ateliers of dramaturgy and directing and set design. And it should have some new study program, I think, first. And if it will happen, so then really it will be some new form. I'm not skeptic about it. I'm more like inviting to have this new form, the new life.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a little surprise now because we originally couldn't decide who to invite from Poland, and we wanted to have only one debater. And then we asked both Krzysztof and Wojtek Rzemielski, who couldn't come. So we wanted to ask both, but Wojtek couldn't come. So we shot with him a little, like basically an answer to this question, which I would ask now Barbara to show us. Is it possible?
A lot of different things are happening to theater right now. If there's one thing which is pretty obviously happening to all theater right now, is the thing that's happening to all of us, and that is the pandemic. And I think this is certainly a shakeup. It certainly kind of makes us reconsider who we are, what we are, how we do what we do. And second of all, I would say it forces a lot of people to move into the digital territory, but it also is a crazy, amazing opportunity for a lot of people to explore things they would never have explored otherwise. And I think we're past this moment of the first panic and despair, where it felt like we are doomed. And now we're kind of doomed. We're back to being doomed in some way. But we have, I think, another perspective, it's much more complex right now. So I think this is the first thing that happens. Second of all, I would say that theater is always one of the more conservative art forms. It's very slow in adapting to reality. It doesn't use, the things that we call multimedia were being used 100 years ago in some cases, projections in shows and stuff like that. And I think this has to do with the fact that we deal a lot with concrete matter and concrete situations. And so this is very heavy. It's very difficult to build a symbolic level, which is going to be light and which will allow us to use everything that's happening around us just like that. So I think in that sense, we're adapting in a different way to other art forms. And it's much easier, I would say, to make a concert that is going to be online and to record voices of people singing. There were dozens of those that you had boxes with faces of people singing together. And that's much easier to do than to actually rethink theater. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, theater does relate to life and to reality, and I think that is where it becomes exciting. It's when you really kind of embrace what is happening. So right now we're talking, and this is the first time we see each other. We've never met live. So your image is all I get. I spent the last 4 months working on an online show with actors, some of whom I've never met before. And we met for just a week in Warsaw. We were lucky enough to just hit the window where it was possible. And I remember the first time we met and we were like, oh my God, you're much taller and you're like very different in like this 3D thing. So we got so used to this visual aspect that we get here that it became a world of its own. And in some sense, this, I would say, is very exciting for the theater, because theater has always been working around, mimesis and representation of reality, maybe even more than mimesis. And here this question reappears constantly. And we're now talking, on a digital platform. And I just made this little trick, which is I adjusted my image a little bit with an additional program, and that's not how I would normally look. So now I'll change the camera, and this is me. So I've had a different image of me that you got used to, and that you assumed was me, and that built a kind of a spectacle for you that you assumed to be real. And it's very easy to become tricked. And if I would keep the filter, you would just think, okay, that's him. And of course, we hear of stories, that in South Korea, there's a whole problem, social problem now, that young people want to make plastic surgery that will adapt to the filters they're using on Snapchat. But theater, I think right now is in a moment, at least I see it as a moment of, yes, totally a third wave, where there's a change to a universe. And now I wouldn't want to describe this universe as virtual, because I think it doesn't quite do justice to the just boundless possibilities that it creates once you accept that you watch it all, you see it all in a small, a dull 2D rectangle. So yes, definitely there is a third wave, and I think in the show that I just finished, we were exploring it quite a lot, because if you think about it, we don't really know what that means. We know that there is a new world of possibilities, but for instance, we were on Zoom constantly, and at a certain moment, somebody left their house. It was in the middle of the lockdown, and somebody left their house with the computer in their hands, and there was a world outside, and it was crazy that there's a world outside. And suddenly, so in the show, we have somebody walking on the streets with the phone and filming with the phone while other people are in their flats. And so suddenly these realities start to really become much more complex in a way which we know very well from YouTubers and all sorts of other initiatives, but which, when used within the conventions and tradition of theater, creates a really, I would say, exciting mix of possibilities. You know, one thing I'm preparing right now is, for instance, a work that is going to be made entirely using text that's put in by Performance Live online. So there will be only text on a website that will be input live, and that will be also a performance, and it will also be theater. So all these things are right now, I think, opening up. And of course, if one studies a little bit the recent history of multimedia theater, these things have been around for a while. Yes, I remember maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was it must have been 15 at least, a thing called desktop theater, which was on these, how do you call those? I don't even recall the name. There were the kind of chat rooms, yeah, and there were different types of chat rooms, and in some of them, some of the public chat rooms, some people, artists, actually started kind of reproducing plays within the context of a chat room. So I remember they did Waiting for Godot and some other pieces which were kind of included in the normal conversation. So this already happened before, but I think the difference right now is the difference of measure. And I will use a parallel which may be a little bit controversial, but is the parallel of the iPhone, the first iPhone, that there were smartphones before that. There were many smartphones before that. But we all remember the iPhone appearing, because that was the moment where all these ideas that were there suddenly became like a whole new universe. And I think this is what is happening right now, although there aren't that many actual pieces that employ it. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the video. I would point out that, this was shot right after the premiere of Wojtek's last performance that was called Enter Full Screen, which was entirely on Zoom. And I haven't seen that performance, unfortunately, but he later in this video talks about the actor going out of his apartment and joining the I believe joining the demonstrations, political, I don't know, demonstrations, which then triggered our conversation or aimed our conversation to the topic or to relation between digitality and reality, and theater and reality, when digital theater and reality. So my next question to you would be if, in your perspective, this has more or less stayed the same or radically changed, perhaps, because lots of people tend to think about digital and internet as something derivative, something secondary and immaterial to what we live in and to our physical world, to our reality. how would you describe that? Is digital theater material, physical to you?
Of course, it is a contradiction in terms. It can't be a physical experience by itself. So even when you're talking to virtual spaces, we all must be aware that there's mostly just a display, and there is no space in it. It's just on the desktop or on the VR glasses. But, and that's the point, but how can we create some sort of immersive ways to participate on a theatrical play, like we do this on, let's say, computer games, or like we do this on 360 videos, or like we do this in a whole audio blurring cinema experience. So we are just that maybe is one of the points that were mentioned in the beginning. There is a difference between just filming a theater play and just streaming it on the net. So as most of theaters did at the beginning of the pandemic situation, and with the things we now can describe, as there is some sort of more communication between whom am I streaming to, how can I welcome an audience even in the digital space, how can they just even buy a ticket, how is there some personnel just welcome you, how is there an interaction between actors and audience, and what is the next step? So we in the Academy are just on research projects for transmitter receiver models that are some sort of, how do we call this, interactive feedback models. So of course this is a little bit science fiction, but only a little bit. Do I have gloves that I can feel you? And can you feel that I am doing something with my gloves? Do I have a jacket that gives me an impulse when I'm just hit by an actor? Is there some sort of smell coming out of my computer, just to mention in what kind of space we're just all together? So how can I, and I think this is a very simple way, how can I recognize that I'm not alone on my desk just watching, but there is a community watching at the same time the same thing. So I think one of the big problems was theater on demand. So you can choose whenever you want to watch it. It's like a video, it's like Netflix. And the first experiments with, no, you have to be there on Wednesday, 1930. So you have you have really to decide to watch theater at this point, at this time. And I think so we are just redefining how we can bring some sort of physicality into the digital life. Next step is then how we can, you said, oh God, sorry, VR chat, how to create environments in some models like Mozilla Hubs. So you have a theater building in it with a stage design, and you have your own avatar, and you can visit as an audience with all your avatars the stage, and you can watch a play and interact with the actors or with the directors or whatever. So I think there is a lot of fascinating things to explore and to do. So I'm stopping now. Thank you.
Certainly, don't be sorry, Marcus. Thank you very much. How about Krzysztof and Maciej?
Sorry, I'm thinking a bit. Yeah, you know, I would ask after the Matrix movie, what is real? You know, what is reality? And one of the first performances of Dream Adoption Society was the Plato's Republic, you know, where you have a this metaphor of the cave. Yeah, so basically according to Plato, we are those like people sitting in a cave, you know, or I think it's Giorgio Agamben or who translated it to in a new way, and he used the metaphor of cinema. It's easier than a cave right now to understand it, that we are just seeing some kind of projections, you know. Even like right now, it's just kind of physical experience, yeah, because it's something I see, and it's just a matter of getting there inside, you know, and see and understanding that what we see, it's not the reality itself, like it's some kind of everything is some kind of image our brain is creating. So when we put on VR glasses, we immediately believe what we see. Yeah, we are maybe cinema also through the last century developed the you know, this visual aspect. I mean that we are more focused on what we see. The like a visual culture developed, like advertisement and movies, you know, it's like we are used to immerse into the images, yeah, the great movies, you know, we kind of live through, or right now the TV series that you know, the characters are becoming kind of our family, our friends, you know, we want to share like time with them and spend time with them. So I mean, it has many aspects of it. Right now, with all the deep fakes, like what Wojtek used was probably kind of deep fake technology. You know, you can change this reality, you know, manipulate it, but also the other question that comes to my mind is like what is avatar? Because Wojtek was like changing this a bit, you know, but he was he's like still thinking that he's himself, that there is some kind of himself that is existing, but maybe there's nothing like this, like maybe it's just the relation like that I'm existing when you are watching me, you know, and also it just like on Instagram, you know, we think that we are sharing reality, but we are kind of creating our avatars there, like with selfies, like those hundreds of selfies people making. These are not real persons, yeah, and the more viewers you have, the less real you are, you know, and the less real the images that of your life, yeah, because you are just showing it in a frame. So this technology allows us not even to manipulate with ourselves, but also create ourselves from the beginning, like different selves, like digital selves, you know, and become completely digital. It has some advantages for the theater, you know, like changing characters. Like one actor can play like 100 characters, you know, because just with one button he can change those characters, change those personalities he's creating. We can modulate our voice. We can, yeah, make many things. And theater was doing it for we were already using microboards, yeah, to make actors a bit more close to the audience. Yeah, it's not already like a theater that actors standing in front of the audience and saying loud. I mean, it's still existing, but we already got somewhere else, and yeah, we already in Warsaw Academy, Theater Academy, there was some very positive change at last year, and the director Maja Kraczewska, that you might know. She became like a chief of the directors department there, and she invited me to the academy to start this kind of program of digital theater, VR theater. It has, I mean, it's maybe not the best term, VR theater, because I think the theater itself needs some new definition, maybe. I mean, because what also Maciej said, you know, that it has this like a new new way of like communicating between each other, but also the production process of the theater. Like, I mean, because theater is something and the institution of the theater is something else, and I think we could look for a new definition for this institution, you know, and that could include what is or like stress those changes that already started to be more visible in most of the theaters. You know, that theater is not just the place where you do theater, but it's also like an educational platform, and also the like experimental platform for the social change.
Okay, Maciej, do you have?
Yeah. I wanted to add also something what was inspiring me by Marcus, and that sure, we are in a term in the times of like informative boom and in this internet and like a completely online tempo of our day, of our everyday life, and it means that we are strongly affected by online or virtual and cyber spaces and everything. And what can be maybe in terms of inspiration for theater, really nice and big challenge is that we can do this reform. Maybe it's not revolution, but more like reform of how to use the composition of theater production, even if it is made for like this repertoire theater, for like the analog kind of analog theater. I mean that the composition doesn't need to stay by the traditional dramatical circle stuff, like based on the dramatic conflict and the drama of dialogues, drama of characters and everything. We can like really be more open in this kind of like composition, what I'm describing as theater essay, like theater thinking, or like theater essay. Maybe it can be like new genre of theater, something. That it doesn't, that it means that we don't need to finish telling story in the production. We don't need to finish like this dramatical circle in the characters' personal stories in the project. We can only open the narratives. We can do like some parallel narratives in the project, and we can more open topics, and we can more open some landscape of thinking. And because in still in this classical synthetic theater form, we have different like guns for it. We have time, we have physicality, we have space, and we have emotions, and also we have this media and which we can use. So we have so much different instruments, and we don't need to use it only for narration or only for dramatic conflict. This is something what can be really some food for this reforming theater for future, and sure, this is something what is really the biggest inspiration for me and for us in theater. Like use this internet word for this like I said, this theater essay method. And I think it's also something what can be sustainable in the classical repertoire theater. and sure, it can be production which is after premiere, it's fixed production. It's production which can be like in a repertoire of theater next to the adaptation of Chekhov or Shakespeare. Like this outdoor theater essay, opening these topics. Also, this is something what is typical for internet itself and for virtual world, that you have in internet some classical stuff and you have some more open stuff. The internet itself is something like a supermarket of different methods. Yeah. So maybe like the best mirror of or mirroring of this virtual and internet world is to use this inspiration also in the classical repertoire theater. Yeah. This is nice challenge, I think.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I would like to point out that we also have question and answers Q&As section here. So anybody that is currently watching us live online, feel free, please, to ask any question to any of the participants. I would strongly recommend that. But in the meantime, we will move on. I mean, you have in the beginning, you have, Matej, mentioned the problem of, or you tackled a little bit the problem of funding, let's say, or finances, that perhaps it's, of course, not only problem in Czech Republic, but of course, that is something that we experience, that all of us experience, and right now it's even becoming harder. So, but I would like to ask you all, how hard is to persuade any state or local authorities to fund, from their perspective, let's say, experiments or these new tendencies? I know that, I mean, you always need to stick to some institution. I mean, Academy for Theater and Digitality is the sixth part of Theater Dortmund, and of course, always need these institutions to maybe persuade the authorities, or to just explain what you want to do. But are there any, any difficulties you would like to share, and maybe how you managed to overcome this, how you managed to break the ice with the official, with the authorities, with the guys providing the money to you?
I just maybe wanted to say one more thing about theater and the digital. That theater in its, let's say, classical form was in a way very anthropocentric, and we always wanted to see the humans on stage, and what is, but also we know that humans as a species is kind of problem for the like became a problem for the planet, for the environment, and it's just interesting that that these new forms are letting other actors to perform, like we start using digital, like we start using artificial intelligence for the performance. There are some groups that are including this to their performances, that you talk with something that is not human, or I had some few years like we were using robots for the performances, or in the Sexual Life of Savages, we made like a huge object that was designed by Aleksandra Wasilkowska, the set designer and an artist I work with. She made like a huge 20-meter wide, like a black, you could call it like a black cloud over the heads of the audience. It was later migrating onto the stage, and it had like 20 engines, and it was run by an algorithm, and then reacting also to the audience, to the actors on stage, and to the audience when it was under the audience. So for us, it was additional actor in the performance. We had to adjust our behavior to it. So it's also interesting to see that we kind of becoming less important. And it's maybe good to see our like to make it a bit weaker, this paradigm of anthropocentrism. And yeah, it's quite hard to convince, like it was hard to convince people to invest in this technology. We were kind of lucky with Dream Adoption Society in Warsaw, because we got a grant from the city, so we could buy some equipment. Like we got like 6 VR headsets and computers to run it. And when for example, when the epidemic came, I just sent those computers to the actors at homes and my collaborators, and we could meet each other even during the lockdown, and we could be very close to each other. Right now also the students from the academy, they got many grants, for the digital culture that was founded by the Ministry of Culture, because you couldn't do basically nothing else. So the Ministry of Culture decided to give some money for that, and it became a bit more easier to get. I'm right now preparing a performance in Freiburg, in Germany, and they're very analog there, and so they are kind of like untrustful to everything what I say. Like I have to repeat it 3 times, but it's developing. I mean, it's moving forward. So I guess people, when they will experience it, that it's some kind of new form, and maybe when the technology will get even better, and people will have it at home. I mean, I'm waiting a bit for that, that people will start using this technology like smartphones, that, for example, everybody will have it. Then the reality of this form will become much different.
Okay, thank you very much. I welcome back Marcus, who have lost for a second, but
I'm so sorry.
It's no, it's all right. But you just came back to the great point, because I wanted to ask you particularly if you can share just briefly how was your dialogue with the city authorities, with the local authorities in Dortmund, was before you established the academy as a sixth branch of the Dortmund Theater in Dortmund?
Clearly to say, I haven't been involved in establishing the academy. I was a freelancer as a director and stage designer at the Theater of Dortmund under the direction of Kai Voges, and I've been working there for theater plays. And we are, Kai Voges and me, we are connected for the last, I think, 25, 26 years. We work together, we're close friends, and we just exchanged our experiences. His fathers and my father both come from the IT sector. So we had a lot to talk about digitization and theater. But the academy was founded by him and two of his dramaturgs and the technicians of the Theater of Dortmund, like Mario Simon. Since they had the experience that they were using new technologies into their plays. And every time, of course, if you create a theater play, there is a premiere. So you have to be finished by the premiere when the curtain is opening. And most of the time they thought, oh, we really would like to look further on this technology. How could projection mapping better work? How could live filming better work? How could the controlling of systems better work? And in theater, of course, after 6 weeks, there's the premiere, and the next day, the next thing starts, and everybody is not having in mind what he has explored before. And so they talked to the city of Dortmund that they would like to have a place where you can have space, time, and money just for researching on technologies in a direct connection with artists. So since the Theater of Dortmund was very famous the last 10 years, and since the city of Dortmund has a real big scale of processes in digitization after the Industrial Revolution crashed in the middle of the last century, they are in a big transformation, and they have an open mind and open heart for all the things you are now going to explore to get used to the, I think, the tools we are needed to know for the next decades. It was not that complicated. Of course, there is a lot of money in it. And of course, it's a real giant step to establish a new department in a theater. I think this is an extraordinary thing, and we are the only one department that is in a theater house, the same as opera, ballet, and all these. And we have no duty to perform or to rehearse. We're just there for researching, for of course bring the people together. They are in the technical department. We try to get a master at the Applied Science University in Dortmund. We're just in the networking station for communications about new technologies in theater. And of course, this was not only the Theater of Dortmund, it was even the Land of Nordrhein-Westphalia. It was the Kulturstiftung des Bundes, I don't know the English word for it, from the Bundesregierung, and the European Community. Even all these four departments paid together, gave their money, and said this would be an interesting thing to mention by now. And so we are now at the end of, in the middle of the year of 2, and we are talking to all the partners to establish the academy for a longer time. So the city of Dortmund is building a new building for us, for our own department, not to be more in the theater. We have our own building at the Haven of Dortmund. And so, yeah, this is very open-minded, but it's very seldom, I think, and it's very generous.
Okay, that's a very good example. Thank you for sharing that. We actually now got 2 questions. I'm gonna read one of them. The first one that is very much connected to what I wanted to ask myself. So Jakub Liška is asking, is it possible for contemporary theater, with its huge usage of digital technologies, from lighting systems to video mapping or VR, to be critical to digital technology? How do you as theater makers think about or work with socio-economical and ecological consequences of using digital technology, which is mainly produced under humiliating and non-ecological conditions? End of the quote, Jakub Liška.
Yeah, maybe I will. Like, this is a very strong and important question. It's like phenomenon, and really now open and more open to different interpretation, because it means that if you want to be critical to this still growing or like this progressing of digital media world, so if the only reaction is to not use them or to be only like critical to them in terms of that you are also, almost like only ignoring them, like maybe the different method can be that you are using them strongly and strongly and like more radical way, and then you will find some solution if it is like this is connected to this phenomenon of techno optimism or techno negativism. And I think still these discussions about connection between technology and environmental sustainability is still open. Yeah? If we will be, if you want to take really serious way, what is, for example, saying now Bruno Latour in his latest works, so that we maybe need to reduce our aim to invite this globalism and modernism in an only positive way, and maybe that this is the way to hell, that we still are growing and progressing everything, and maybe we should go back down to earth and like reduce our behaving and be in more like a collaboration with what is still on the earth and in our local surrounding. So in these Latour terms, it means that we should be only in this degrowth phenomenon of any other not only artistic making. Yeah. But what does it mean? Yeah? What does it mean? And I think still we are searching for it. Yeah? I think theater doesn't need to only count their energetic like this way of how the institution, how the buildings, and how all this energetic stuff of their producing is and where it leads, and that we need to only use some recycling set design and whatever, that it is only one way. Different way can be the ignoring of the media. I think still this is a very open phenomenon. And I don't have any straight and only answer to it, but I think that this is the most important issue for for next like future question of each artistic behaving.
Yeah, I think either it's a very difficult question, since artists, not only theater artists, are using new technologies all the time just to express what they are thinking or believing or want to tell to the audience. And even so, therefore, we just moved, as I mentioned before, about 2,000 years ago, from the marketplaces into the theater houses. We brought the fire in it just to lighten them up. We used the technologies of shipping to do the stage design. We used industrialization for machines and theater. We electrified the theater, not only for reasons of security, to get rid of the open fire, just for producing art with light. And so we do it now with all the tools of the digital transformation. And of course, we are aware just by using a smartphone what the cost is of it. Who does this for us as a so-called first world community? But otherwise, these are our tools to express ourselves, and therefore we have to define dramaturgical questions and tasks of patterns of storytelling, for example. Is it, I would say it's just of the main themes of the academy. Is it necessary to need this, to use this tool for a performance? Do you really need this? if you take a Shakespeare or a Kai Focus, do you need the projection? Do you need the VR? Do you need the internet, or do you need a free space and the chair and the light? So, and if you can answer this from the artistic point of view with yes, you have to use it. Of course, this is what we are going to express ourselves, but not to ignore how the things are coming to us. This maybe is the interesting point of life, since the whole society is using, and you see the climate change, for example, without thinking about the terms and how they are created.
Yeah, I mean, in my, I was supposed to be in New York, you know, collaborating with La Mama and the Culture Hub. They're they have this Culture Hub is a part of La Mama, where for developing new technologies. And you know, the epidemic started, so we couldn't go there, yeah, and we had to stay homes, and so we started to meet with actors through VR, you know, but then I didn't fly there, yeah, I didn't have to fly there, so and I actually stopped flying, and I never really liked flying. I like sailing, you see. You know, like this is kind of positive thing that I don't have to go there to meet somebody. I can you know, create my own environment. I can design how I look there, what you perceive there, what you designed, what you like experience there, like what you feel there, and I can invite people there without even going out of my home. Yeah, and I also started to see in myself, maybe it's just very it's not universal feeling maybe, but when I use this technology, which is like so artificial, you know, like it takes you completely out of here, I started to like the feeling of being here more. Yeah, like touching the grass, yeah, like or hugging the tree, or something like living on the countryside, you know, like a kind of perfect image of life could be like living on the countryside in a very ecological way, and then you just put on this technology, you use this computer to create, yeah, to share it, your feelings with other people and your experiences. So it's of course very critical to know like what this technology is, who is controlling it, yeah, like who's getting this data that we produce, because those new VR headsets have not only possibilities to like create new worlds, but also they have a, for example, eye tracking, yeah, like they know what you see, where you look at, yeah, like so it can be kind of dangerous, but you know, Polish government has this amazing program, yeah, they did like they never said that they have it, but everybody's like, it's obvious that they have it already. It's called Pegasus. You can get into any smartphone just like that with this Pegasus, you know. No security will stop you, yeah, from getting there. So but at the end of this question, there is some kind of danger of feeling that there is some kind of strange evil force that wants to control us on every aspect, you know, and maybe it's not so bad, you know, like that there is some kind of, you know, reptilians, you know, controlling the society, you know, through those technologies, you know. It's some kind of new form of expression, and of course it is our task to make it fair, yeah, for the environment and for the people. But this is really big problem, and it's not only a problem of VR or technology. It's a problem of how we, of democracy, of lack of democracy, of the, I don't know, hunger in the world, you know, and distribution of the goods, of like 1%, you know, that is like controlling the most of the resources on the planet, yeah, and then 99% that is like trying to survive, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of complicity in our world these days, but also we you know, our life, kind of our quality of our lives in general have moved forward through the last 200 years, yeah. And it's hard to say that it's not like this, yeah.
Okay, one maybe important thing to this question, from my point of view, is when I was watching some videos with Kai Foges, he mentions this importance of knowing what we are dealing with, so to speak. Because if the theater is not I mean, putting its interest into digital technologies, new technologies, it can easily end up just like Krzysztof now pointed out. It's just, as you mentioned, the Pegasus system that you can get into any smartphone. So in this perspective, theater becomes sort of a place of resistance to the techno-optimism that we are living in. And there's, in this perspective, also no other way, because otherwise it will eat us alive.
There's also very interesting text, you know, which is Xenofeministic Manifesto. I don't know if you heard about it. It's a very interesting manifesto, as like a name, xenofeminism. So the basic idea there is like a that you know, this technology is cutting you from the world. Yeah, it's like separating you from the world, makes you like lonely, and we think like, oh no, oh it's bad, and this manifesto says, and it's great, you know, because the more you are like detaching yourself, the more you are like yourself, the more you can be yourself, the more you can like find yourself, kind of, you know. And it also says like there is no nature, you know, there's nothing, there's nothing, no thing like this, yeah, like my nature is to be a man, let's say. No, I can change. I can do a plastic surgery, and I can change to be a woman. Yeah, it's of course very radical process, but then it makes me maybe more happy. Yeah, makes me more fulfilled. Yeah. So I guess it's. We need some radical concepts also for to find like a new terms to describe this process we are in right now.
Well, as I mentioned, Kai Foges once again, and we have mentioned him many times. Can you, Marcus, maybe add anything to that, because yeah, you're the closest coworker here.
I think, as I said before, you have to be aware what you are dealing with is just the sentence that is useful, and whom you are dealing with, of course. We are just in the center of Germany, in a very cozy situation, of course, in using things and just exploring things without being afraid of being controlled or manipulated. But as we even saw in the video, it's so easy just to change the view. And as Christoph said, the most things are just are produced in your own head, and you're just so easy to manipulate. And the arts are there for just controlling this, and we're just an echo of things that are going around us, and so we have always to ask for the meaning of all this, and not to reproduce this on the stage what we see. There's the what does it mean to us question is the most important, I think.
Okay, yeah, that sounds very nice. Thank you. Matej, do you like to expand on that, or shall I ask another question from the audience?
Let's go for the next questions. Yeah.
Okay. So that totally, I think, changes. I mean, this is a question concerning the Wojtek's recorded video. So, but let's put it anyway. This is democratic platform. So Wojtek thinks Eva Keslova writes, ask a question. So I'm going to quote Eva Keslova. Wojtek thinks it is easier with music. But what do you think of contemporary classical music and online formats? It is very abstract in general. There are no stories that the audience can follow. Good sound is crucial, which very often cannot be the case with home computers. How not to end with just filmed concerts? We cannot, for example, create a new online version of the work, shorter, different perspective, etc. How to get more interactive? End of the quote.
Yeah, and again, if I could start like answering, because just right now, like in Poland, we had this application that just came out, you know, where you can, I think it was made in Poznań, with the Philharmonics there, where you can, you know, like travel around the orchestra in VR, you know, and it's an amazing experience because you can suddenly be more to the cello or more to the violins or more to the drums. Yeah, you can just like suddenly be in the orchestra, and this makes the experience new. Yeah, like it's a new form of maybe discovering the classical pieces. So yeah, it's just an example.
Okay, anybody wants to expand on that, or is this too far from theater? I mean, it's of course connected to
no, also like there was in VR chat like the Jean-Michel Jarre concert, yeah, like few months ago, and it's very interesting to be at this concert because you know the audience listening to the Jean-Michel Jarre is like suddenly, you know, like alligator and a cyborg and Pikachu, or like all those like different, somebody's maybe more humanoid, like Avatar. Yeah, so you look at the audience and everybody is so freaky. We also had it like we built like a classical theater stage in VR chat, and then you look at the audience and you see, you know, like all those strange forms of that people came with. Yeah, so so this is interesting, and what comes to my mind is, maybe it's not the direct answer, but that art, this digital art, needs to look for the audience, for some kind of maybe new audience. It's not that the audience will come and see us. It's like us maybe finding those ways to get to those people, you know, that were not normally interested in those classical forms of music and the theater, you know, and it's like a huge audience, you know, when you see like how many people watch even the streamings from the game. Yeah, somebody's playing a game, and I'm like watching somebody playing a game. I'm not even me playing, and these are like millions of people, you know, watching it. So what kind of theater has this kind of audience, you know? Yeah.
Let me just quickly interrupt you because we have a live follow-up from Eva Keslova, who asked this question. She says, yes, the new Poznań app, that is very, very expensive, many cameras, etc.
It's no cameras there. It's all digital. It's 3D. You know, it's not. This is the thing. I mean, that we have to stop thinking about cameras in virtual, or we can connect it, yeah, but you don't need cameras actually. And I started to use 360, and it's interesting when you combine it with the 3D content.
Okay, Vakeslova, if this is a good answer enough for you, of course you can follow up later and ask more of it. I'm gonna ask the last question we have here from Martina Pecková-Černá. How do you feel about theater and artificial intelligence? AI is composing music and painting pictures today. Will and shall theater remain resistant to it, or can it benefit from that? In which of its components? Do you have some experience with AI in theater?
Some.
Some.
I think at the moment the terms are difficult since AI, in my point of view, at the moment is not able to produce art anyway. It is able to copy art or to just redefine the things that the AI knows, since the AI is not more by now as deep learning. How much you put in, that much you get out of it. And in some cases of controlling a set design, it is very interesting what the machine does in interaction with humans. Marco Donnarumma is just a fellow at the Academy, is experimenting with it. Like he is doing a dance piece and there are just some sensors in space, and he's got an AI that is controlling the sensors and the light, and how you move just forces the AI to react and to do a lightning somewhere. And when the public reacts, the AI mentions it and does sound somewhere. But this is not it's not an artwork that it's for it's completely controlled and done by the AI. And I think I don't know. We as humans just have to recognize the belongings of our society. And in fact, I'm not sure if an AI would be able to copy that. We had some people asked us about doing research projects with chatbots and force them to produce new theater plays, text for the theater. And I never understood in most of the cases, or nearly in all of the cases, why should we do that? Even if it's possible, what is the idea behind just to get rid of authors? I don't know. Even if one can answer me this question, I would be more open-minded to implement AI in the context of art. But at the moment, I'm quite unsure, I would say.
So we're getting to a very interesting point where the panelists starting to ask questions to our audience, which is which I like very much. So if anyone from the audience would like to answer, that would be great. Okay. Anybody
also
else?
AI is kind of tool, yeah. Like right now, it's
yeah.
a tool, or it's becoming a partner maybe. I mean, for design, it's amazing. Yeah, like you want to make shoes and you or make a storyboard, like a mood board. Yeah, like to present to someone, and you need like some shoes, and you put like shoes. Just the right shoes, and it gives you like 100 possibilities of those shoes. Yeah, this is interesting. You need with faces. Yeah, right now it's like a new branch with like producing faces of the people that never existed. Yeah, like you need something for the advertisement or something, and you take this face and you don't have to pay for it. Yeah, like you don't have to spend money on it. It's you produce it and it's completely real, but of a person that never existed. So this is interesting. There's because those are like for now different branches. Like are we talking about the text AI or about the visual AI or about different fields? Yeah, there's this model right now. If someone is interested, I highly recommend to take a closer look. It's called GPT-3. I mean, already GPT-2 model was already, they had to limit it because it was too good. And this GPT-3 model wrote an article to publish in Guardian like a few months ago. It's made by this company, OpenAI. So yeah, these are very interesting partners to discuss with. And also, you know, the first people that should be like scared of AI are the programists, because they will be first like replaced by AI, because what AI probably can do very good is write a code. And writing a code is a very difficult and expensive thing. Yeah.
So in the end, this is the reproduction, future reproduction, because if the codes can write another code, I guess that's good. Will be called a reproduction. And yeah, if anybody feels scared from the audience, please feel free to express it. Marcus, I think you wanted to add something to that, or not?
No, I just had an open mic.
Okay, Mathieu?
No. I think we have still so much questions open and more for our own thinking. Yeah. Okay, I think it's not needed to continue just now.
Okay, let's proceed to another question by Sandra Lee. Sandra Lee asks, how important is to underline the live aspect of theater through the digitalization, and which means could we be used to do so? End of the quote.
I mean, from my experience, it's like that we are kind of in a theater. We are like showing something, playing something on a stage, and people are watching us. Of course, you can change those relations to many, you know, like play around the audience, among the audience, like you can, I don't know, grab the audience and drag them to the stage, which might be very brutal or something, but so many people don't like that. I don't personally like this, like when actor is like coming and and dragging me, like saying something to me personally, or trying to hit me or something. But then in VR, we see I see when we are working that we need to be more interactive with the audience. Like we need to like invite them into our world more, like focus on them more. So it's kind of getting us closer to them, like without crossing this physical border when I'm already feeling unsecured. Yeah, like what this person is like doing so close to me. You know, we know that we are in our like bubbles. You know, but then we are trying to cross it. Yeah. That's one thing. I mean, but also you can use it in a different ways. Like we have this performance. Maybe the English title was at some point "The New Territory." It was very interesting because it was basically a dance piece where like 7 or something actors, dancers were like making for the first 20 minutes for the people. It had only 30 audience. Like we had only 30 audience because we had 30 headsets, like mobile headsets, where people were. It was like a dance tutorial, like a bit like a joke, like how to behave in this virtual reality, and dancers were making their choreographies. It created, people were standing like it was open space, and dancers were around them doing this choreography. Many times people were joining them in repeating this choreography. At some point it was getting so complicated that of course the audience couldn't follow, but they were all holding like a little trees, like a bonsai trees, I mean totems, let's call them, we produced. And at some point, like after this introduction part, they were exchanging those totems for the VR headsets. There were more audience, but only those 30 totems you could exchange for the headset. And when the people were putting the headsets on, they were suddenly in a multiplayer experience. Yeah, they were all there. They could see each other. It wasn't like physically the same space where you are in VR than physical, but so you were in a different space in real, but you were also sharing this space, but you were together there and together here. And to move, like the people had to pretend that they are walking or running in one place, yeah, or you could fly in this application when you jumped. So suddenly you could see those 30 people behaving with the amazing algorithm or choreograph, like with the choreography that was just produced by their movement. I was always watching them doing this, not joining them in this experience, because it was so funny to look at them, because suddenly they were like detaching themselves like from this knowledge that somebody is watching me. Somehow it was turned off, and their motorics of the bodies, you know, of like normal people, not dancers, not someone who is prepared to dance, was so amazing and so different from everything you could see. So and actors were just protecting them to not fall into each other and so on. So so it was on those two levels, you know, like of physicality and virtuality at the same level. It was all blended, and it was very interesting.
Okay, thank you. I just realized that we have technically last 10 minutes in order not to overlap over 2 hours, which flew by just like nothing. I feel like we are talking only for an hour now, but it's almost 2. So I'm giving the last chance for maybe maybe for the audience to ask a short question, or if someone of you would like to ask each other a question, because this is also a unique opportunity to meet together. So if you have a question to one another, maybe this is the last time, 10 minutes.
I guess we'll go for a coffee, like
yeah, that would be nice.
to chat, like it's. I suddenly felt like I would have so much questions to ask.
Yeah.
And now it feels
your
like
work, guys. So yeah.
Now it feels like a really great moment that this is the paradox of Zoom, that we would all like to just end the Zoom and go for a coffee
In
together.
virtual coffee,
Yeah.
of course,
Virtual coffee and have it together, but unfortunately we cannot do it physically. And if there's no other questions,
but of course, this answers the last question at all. I think it would really be nice to meet you in real for a coffee, just in Prague, in Holland, in Germany, wherever. It just would be great, and then have an afternoon to talk about all these topics, and then go back to digital world.
Okay. Yes, that
after the pandemic, you're invited to Dortmund. Please come and visit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So the only one who sits in Prague is actually Barbara.
You're in Berlin, no?
I'm in Berlin. Matej sits in Brno, and Krzysztof is somewhere at the sea.
At the open sea.
So yeah, but let's do it somewhere. It's very close to. I think we're still very close to each other. And let me just at the end mention that we have another debate which is taking place on the 26th of November. The moderator of this debate will be Alice Koubová, philosopher and theater theorist, and the next theme of this this debate will be theater as a cultural institution. November 26th, Green Thursdays, the same time, 3 p.m. If anybody was interested today, I guess you will be interested in 1 month time. Thank you very much for thank you, our participants, for joining us today. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, that decided to join us and ask a question, and even to you who did not ask the question. Let's hope that we could somehow meet outside of Zoom one day, and stay healthy, and wish you all the best, all of you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Yeah. Bye-bye.